casting might just be the single most underappreciated discipline in the filmmaking process, because what is a script, a director, or all the amazing audio-visual gubbins in the world without great actors doing a great job? We've come to expect great work from certain performers, but there are those casting choices which came totally out of nowhere. Enough that just about nobody could have possibly predicted them, as is the case with these upcoming films, which range from the "huh?" to the "oh, actually, I can see that." I'm Ewan, this is What Culture, and here are just a few recent casting choices nobody expected. First up, Eddie Murphy, the Pink Panther. Eddie Murphy hasn't exactly been keeping himself super busy in recent years, largely sticking to his bread and butter franchises with sequels to Coming to America, Beverly Hills Cop, and of course Shrek, which I still can't believe is actually happening, but we'll get to that later in the list. Either way, the legendary funny man dropped quite the bombshell recently when he revealed that he will be playing Inspector Clouseau in a new Pink Panther movie. Now, obviously, Murphy's comedic chops are absolutely undeniable, and he obviously has experience playing a police detective of dubious competence, no offense to Axel Foley, but yeah, it's kind of tough to picture this one. Sure, Murphy can probably do an intentionally awful French accent with the best of them, which I'm including myself in, but playing a part that was made so iconic by Peter Sellers and then reinterpreted with middling results by Steve Martin more recently, Murphy's comedic style definitely seems like a totally different vibe. We don't know many other details about this new Pink Panther yet, other than Murphy himself hinting that he may have Haitian origins, but it'll certainly be interesting to see his rendition of such an iconic character. Next on the list, Matthew Lillard, Scream VII. Scream fans were left positively shook when it was announced that Matthew Lillard would be reprising the role of original Ghostface killer Stu Macher in the upcoming 7th movie. After all, Stu had a giant CRT TV pushed onto his head by Neve Campbell's Sydney at the end of the first film, and appeared to be, well, you know, just look for yourself. That bro is dead. He's absolutely in the bin, down under. He's doing stairs, okay? There's no coming back from that. But this is the horror genre, so I digress. And yeah, how the hell will Stu figure into Scream VII? It's a question that's had the fanbase working overtime over the last 8 to 10 months, and there are some pretty compelling theories out there. One obvious possibility is that Stu somehow survived the original Scream, and given that one scrapped concept for Scream 3 was to indeed have Stu acting as a puppet master behind the scenes, it's not entirely out of the question. But that also risks stretching the series' already thinning plausibility to breaking point, and it's probably far more likely that Stu will be appearing as some sort of AI/deepfake being used by the new killer to antagonize Sydney, especially with several other dead characters, namely Roman and Dewey, also confirmed to return. And yet, out of all the theories options so far, this one definitely feels the most compelling to me. It fits Scream down to a T in regards to its history of satirizing Hollywood filmmaking trends, and also speaking to real-life traumas. This is a whole terrifying tech Pandora's box that's been opened here, and I think this would be a really, really interesting way of updating Ghostface that isn't just another reveal that, hey, we want revenge, because we've seen that done a few times now, and it hasn't landed particularly well. Otherwise, Stu could appear in a potential flashback sequence, possibly one that depicts the murder of Sydney's mother, Maureen, but again, I kind of think the whole AI deepfake thing here is definitely the most likely option. As ever, we'll just have to wait and see, but it's certainly an unexpected casting announcement that's whipped the entire fanbase into a frenzy. On the way, Ariana Grande, fucker in lore. Now, in fairness, few expected a fourth Meet the Parents movie to ever get made, and yet, here we are with fucker in lore. Boy gee golly. In addition to the likes of Ben Stiller, Robert De Niro, Terry Polo, Blythe Danner, and Owen Wilson all reprising their roles in this long-belated sequel, it was recently announced that Ariana Grande has also joined the ensemble cast. The Hollywood Reporter subsequently confirmed that no, Grande won't be playing herself in a cheeky cameo, but will instead be playing a quote-unquote ball-busting woman who gets engaged to the son of Stiller and Polo's characters. It's certainly a left-field choice to cast Grande in a role that doesn't require any singing and, more to the point, seems polar opposite to her popular persona, but hey, that's where a lot of great comedy is derived from. Playing against type can work wonders when done right, especially in a comedy where subverting expectations can generate uproarious laughs. Above all else though, Grande's presence certainly won't do the film's box office any harm, given, her huge popularity as a singer and obviously coming off the back of a two-parter home run with Wicked. Coming up next, Tom Rees-Harris, Clayface. One of the major benefits of making a superhero movie with a more modest budget is that the studio is generally less concerned with casting a bona fide A-lister who they know can get butts in seats on name alone. And that's definitely true of the new DC film Clayface, where protagonist Matt Hagen will be played by rising Welsh actor Tom Rees-Harris. Harris certainly isn't a slouch in the acting department, by the way, evidenced by his fine work on TV shows White Lines and Suspicion, but he just wasn't really on anyone's radar for a role of this size. It's nevertheless a really strong endorsement for Harris, all the more so given that he was apparently competing with the more high-profile likes of Jack O'Connell, George McKay, and Tom Blythe for the role, beating all three of them out, which is That's no small feat. There's no doubt that Harris will make Clayface his own, and with the film's budget being set at a shockingly sensible $40 million, virtually unheard of for anything in the superhero genre these days, Warner Brothers evidently weren't too bothered about his dimmer star wattage. Still though, I think it's kind of weird that this isn't just a full Batman movie. I don't really care for these solo supervillain films, and I think you're missing a lot of Batman's humanity and compassion when you do it this way too, but I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you down with a solo Clayface movie? Or, as Joker once said, without Batman, does crime have no punchline? Let me know, I'm really curious. Slight tangent, but I had to get it off my chest. Next up, your brain gets smart and your Shrek gets dumb. Zendaya, Shrek V. Fan casting for any major movie franchise has a tendency to be incredibly unimaginative. To simply pick an of-the-moment young actor and just toss them into the mix, like in a big acting battle royale, and yeah, fight, yeah, get in there. That's how it totally works. But sometimes a glorified fan cast ends up being totally on the money, as is the case of Zendaya's role in Shrek V. We recently learned that the singer and actress has been cast as Shrek's daughter Felicia in the sequel. And sure, why the hell not? This isn't the first time that Zendaya has lent her voice to an animated film, but few would have pegged her for this part regardless. With her release calendar filling up with hugely anticipated projects like The Odyssey, Spider-Man Brand New Day, Dune Part 3, and the new season of Euphoria, it's funny to see just Shrek 5 just slotted in among there. Definitely the most prestigious outing, I think we can all agree. If nothing else, it'll certainly be fun to hear Zendaya riff off the likes of Myers, Cameron Diaz, and Eddie Murphy, although, again, Shrek 5 after the last couple were, it's an interesting strategy, I gotta say. Next up, Michael Caine blows the bloody doors off his retirement. The Last Witch Hunter 2. In October 2023, Michael Caine announced that he had retired from acting at the age of 90, mere weeks after the release of his acclaimed drama, The Great Escaper. There didn't seem to be any indication that Caine could be coaxed back in front of the camera, and even if he did return to act, most likely expected it to be for an auteur filmmaker like his regular collaborator, Christopher Nolan. So, what a shock it was to learn that Caine will be coming out of retirement to appear in The Last Witch Hunter 2, a sequel to the 2015 fantasy action film starring Vin Diesel. Yeah, despite the film completely tanking at the box office, it evidently must have been a strong performer on streaming, as Diesel recently confirmed that the sequel is happening, with Caine, who played a supporting role in the original, also set to appear. Given that Caine and Diesel have been close friends for decades now, yeah, that's news to me too, that likely explains the former's decision to unretire for what will presumably be a brief cameo role and hopefully a sizable paycheck. All the same, this casting is only slightly less unexpected than The Last Witch Hunter 2 actually happening at all. On the way, Jeremy Allen White, The Mandalorian and Grogu. The Mandalorian and Grogu, which I still can't believe that's the title for an actual Star Wars movie in 2025. Dear God, Disney. Of course, features Pedro Pascal in the lead role of Din Djarin. And the cast otherwise includes sci-fi royalty like Sigourney Weaver, a natural choice if there ever was one. But things get a little bit stranger when we go further down the bill, as the Bear's Jeremy Allen White has been cast to play Rata the Hutt, the son of the franchise's iconic mobster Jabba, who made his debut all the way back in 2008's The Clone Wars animated movie, where he was just a little guy, a little baby boy. I wonder what he looks like for the new movie. What the hell? White will be providing the voice for Rota, who looks like he's sworn off the family career and is now acting as a sort of Hutt wrestler. But all things considered, it's incredibly difficult to imagine White voicing a Hutt at all. Like, how is he gonna do the whole "no pasa na chupola" and all that stuff? Yes, I do have these voices in my back pocket at all time, and please do reach out to me on social media if you just want them on demand, because I just do it anyway. But yeah, while we can reasonably assume that his voice will be deepened and modulated in post-production to get all that bantha poodle thing going on, one does have to ask why they'd even bother hiring a name actor if that was the case at all, especially if he ends up just speaking Huttese anyway. Either way, the role is said to be a significant one rather than a mere cameo, so yeah, there we go. It's definitely an interesting recipe shaping up for the next big screen outing for Star Wars, with just a Huttese wrestler and a plot that belonged in a fourth season of a TV show where you can get to the big screen, a TV show that has had a dwindling reputation for the past several years. Just gonna put our eggs in that basket. Okay, let's see how that pays off. Next up, a reboot of one of Sylvester Stallone's greatest action films, Lily James' Cliffhanger. A follow-up to the 1993 Sylvester Stallone starring action thriller Cliffhanger has been in development pretty much ever since the original blew up at the box office in 1993, but it's never quite come to fruition. Until now. Even in recent years, Stallone was expected to star in the sequel once again, no matter that he turns 80 next July, and last October it was suddenly announced that the new Cliffhanger movie had actually started shooting. More to the point, it was no longer a sequel to the Stallone film, but an all-out reboot instead, with a new protagonist being played by a most unexpected actor, Lily James. James, who is best known for her performances in the likes of Downton Abbey, Cinderella, Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again, and Pam and Tommy, doesn't really seem like a natural physical fit on paper at all. But to James's enormous credit, she's enhanced her typically slender frame and hit the gym. That is to say, she's looking positively ripped in behind-the-scenes photos from the film. We're talking jacked, shredded. There are abs on those abs. Either way, I do hope that Sly makes a cameo here somewhere, if nothing else than to remind everyone that they need to see the original, which is legitimately one of the best action movies of the 90s, and about the best die-hard formula spin outside of that franchise. I did a video on it the other year, which, yeah, you should go check out if you like the movie, or if you haven't seen it, because, yeah, it's a great film. You should all go watch it, especially if you pick up the 4K from Studio Canal, because that restoration is absolutely stunning. Just a gorgeous movie, great time, go watch it. From one 90s reboot to another now, we have Orville Peck, Street Fighter. The new Street Fighter movie is absolutely jam-packed with insane casting choices, like WWE superstars Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes playing Akuma and Guile respectively, but in the very least, they're athletes with experience in this type of role. But surely the oddest casting choice so far is hiring fantastic country singer Orville Peck to play iconic masked fighter Vega. Now sure, Peck is famous for always wearing a mask in public, certainly looks like he's in good shape, and his Broadway performance in Cabaret was widely praised, but does that make him qualified to portray a Spanish martial artist in a Street Fighter movie of all things? Well, I don't know. It's definitely a fun and interesting bout of casting, albeit one that pretty much nobody could have called ahead of time. It would have been far more expected for the production to hire a relatively unknown martial artist and just slap a mask on them, so I guess fair play for doing this. That's not how the Force brackets casting in Star Wars works. Amy Adams, Star Wars Starfighter. Even though Amy Adams is most acclaimed for her purely dramatic work, she's certainly never shied away from blockbuster genre filmmaking. What with playing Lois Lane in the DC Extended Universe and starring in Denis Villeneuve's stunning sci-fi film Arrival. But she'll next appear in the sci-fi franchise to rule them all, when she plays a supporting role in Shawn Levy's new standalone Star Wars movie, Star Wars Starfighter. In case you were hoping to see Adams swinging a lightsaber around, she'll reportedly play the mother of the young lead played by Flynn Grey, so that's probably not gonna happen. It'll certainly be a bit jarring to see an actor of Adams' repute and profile in a Star Wars movie, to say nothing of Ryan Gosling's presence as co-lead, which is just bananas. Like, this is pretty much the opposite of what we've come to expect from this series, which is a real big bummer and probably a pretty big indictment of just how dire Disney feels its prospects are in 2025. Assuming that Mando and Grogu doesn't do that hot at the box office, it'll be interesting to see if Disney banking on star power proves to be enough to right this steadily sinking Star Cruiser. Like, we can all hear the alarms just going, of a Star Destroyer alarm. Anyway, just when you thought it was safe to go back into the MCU, it's Robert Downey Jr., Avengers Doomsday. The world was positively gobsmacked when, at San Diego Comic-Con 2024, it was announced that Robert Downey Jr. would be returning to the Marvel Cinematic Universe to play Doctor Doom in Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. Gobsmacked is one way to put it. Another would be dejected, bemused, or, you know, plain old bamboozled. While many expected RDJ to return in Secret Wars as a Tony Stark variant for the sake of fan service, bringing him back to play the big bad of the multiverse saga is a twist just about nobody could have predicted, and one that I am on record as saying stinks. It stinks, it stinks, it stinks. Yes, Mr. Patterson, everything stinks. That said, there are obviously still huge questions about the precise nature of Downey's role. Is he just genuinely playing a Doctor Doom who resembles Tony Stark for some reason? I hope not, but what the hell? Considering how odd that would be, many have also theorized that this version of Doom will be a Tony Stark variant who may well use his likeness to manipulate the Avengers, which also is bad. Yeah, I think I would have just preferred an actual Doctor Doom, to be honest. Maybe played by Mads Mikkelsen, even if they wasted his juice on Doctor Strange back in 2016, was it? Either way, this one was surprising in all the worst ways, but maybe I'll be wrong? Who knows? I'm open to being proven wrong, even if inherently this thing is really weird. Next up, the Schwartz is strong with this news. Rick Moranis, Spaceballs 2. Mel Brooks' legendary sci-fi spoof Spaceballs is packed with brilliant performers, including Rick Moranis as the Darth Vader parodying Dark Helmet. And while fans would have certainly loved to see him reprise the role for the impending Spaceballs 2, it just didn't seem like a possibility given that Moranis hasn't had a starring role in a live-action movie since 1997's Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves. After Moranis' wife passed away in 1991, he largely shied away from Hollywood while being a full-time father to his children, an entirely understandable decision, no matter that his fans lamented the bigger career that might have been. But to the surprise of many, Moranis was recently confirmed to be reprising the Dark Helmet role in Spaceballs 2, which is currently set to release in 2027. It likely helps that Moranis' children are of course now fully grown adults, but even so, it didn't seem probable that the actor would step back into an arena he's been so far outside of for so long. Not just a surprising casting now, but a surprising sequel altogether. Jeremy Strong, The Social Network Part 2. When it was announced that a sequel to The Social Network was in the works from Aaron Sorkin, most just assumed that Jesse Eisenberg would return to play Mark Zuckerberg once again. Yet, despite the role netting him an Oscar nom last time around, Eisenberg has apparently opted not to return. Possibly due to his recent remarks about no longer wanting to be associated with the Facebook co-founder, which, yeah, I can see why he wouldn't want that, because what an interesting few years it has been. And by interesting, I mean, Earlier this year, it was instead revealed that the great Jeremy Strong was in talks to become Eisenberg's replacement. And while, yeah, it's a shame we won't have acting continuity between films, at least we know that Strong is exceptionally adept at portraying terrible people on screen. It remains to be seen if Sorkin can produce a worthy follow-up to David Fincher's original Oscar-winning drama, especially with him taking over directorial duties this time around. But in the very least, Strong is a confident, if surprising, substitution for Eisenberg. And also, Sorkin did great with Molly's Game, so I'm looking forward to this one. Next up, the guy who somehow cannot stop getting work. Jared Leto, Masters of the Universe. Jared Leto is something of an albatross around the neck of any movie he's involved with right now, because beyond his reputation for being an obnoxiously committed method actor, he was also recently accused of sexual misconduct by 9 women dating back as far as 2006. In addition to playing the title character in Tron Ares, Leto has also filmed a part in Masters of the Universe where he'll play He-Man's arch-nemesis, Skeletor. Now, even putting aside the allegations against Leto, it's tough to imagine him being a particularly good fit for Skeletor, which, you know, requires a degree of personality and comedic timing to pull off. Sure, you could argue he's a pretty solid actor, but his most high-profile attempt at playing menacing prior to this, the Joker in David Ayer's Suicide Squad, didn't really pan out. Like, look at the footage. That's cringe. It's big cringe. To the same token, it isn't easy to imagine Leto nailing the camp of Skeletor either. And while there's always room for him to surprise us, it just seems like a strange, uninspired choice on paper. Next up, another potential win on the Nintendo movie front? Beau Braggerson and Benjamin Evan Ainsworth, The Legend of Zelda. When Nintendo announced that the live-action The Legend of Zelda movie was in the works, naturally the first question was about casting. Namely, who would be playing franchise icons Link and Princess Zelda. Rumors swirled for many months that Hunter Schafer had been cast as Princess Zelda, though it was ultimately revealed that Beau Braggerson had bagged the role, while Benjamin Evan Ainsworth will portray Link. These casting announcements surprised many, both because Braggerson and Ainsworth are relatively unknown actors and also rather young, being 21 and 16 years of age respectively. But there's absolutely something to be said for casting less known performers who don't bring a ton of star baggage with them. And also by casting younger, there's room for them to grow into the roles over the course of a potential franchise. At least in Ainsworth's case, his work on Mike Flanagan's horror series series The Haunting of Bly Manor proves beyond any doubt that he's got the acting chops to carry an IP like this. A new film from David O. Russell now, Nicolas Cage, Madden. When it was announced that David O. Russell was set to direct a biopic of legendary American football broadcaster John Madden, who would have ever expected him to cast Nicolas goddamn Cage in the role? All respect to the one true god, but it's frankly tough to picture him portraying Madden, because beyond the lack of an obvious physical resemblance, can anyone really picture Cage disappearing into the role and convincing everyone that he is that guy? These concerns were seemingly confirmed when the first picture of Cage in the film was released, where he just looks like Nicolas Cage, wearing a John Madden wig. While Cage will likely give a solid performance in the role regardless, and Russell certainly has a knack for getting brilliant work out of his casts, few would have ever considered him a snug, natural fit for a part like this. Only once the first trailer drops will we know for sure if Cage has pulled off the John Madden voice, undeniably one of the most important facets of playing the guy in question. On the way, a beloved actress goes all creepy. Judy Greer, Dead of Winter. Judy Greer might well be one of the most underappreciated actors of her generation, for despite consistently giving it her all in comedy and drama projects over the last 30 years, she's all too often relegated to the thankless wife, mother, or daughter role. While many have campaigned for Greer to get more meaty, dramatic leading parts, few would have expected to see her cast as a dangerous kidnapper in a new action thriller, which is such a cool thing to happen. Yep, Greer is next set to star in Dead of Winter, where she plays one of two villains responsible for kidnapping a teenage girl, while Emma Thompson also plays firmly against type as the hero tasked with saving said stranger. A 5-star festival review from The Guardian singled out Greer for her quote-unquote concentrated nastiness, and considering the exceptional range she's demonstrated throughout her career, there wasn't ever any doubt that she'd pull it off. What was a doubt was getting to see her in a role like this to begin with, and yeah, it's a really welcome surprise. Next up, an 80s icon makes a comeback. Michael Biehn, Onslaught. In the 1980s and early 1990s, it truly seemed like Michael Biehn was poised to have one hell of a movie career, given not only his chiseled good looks, but also his honest-to-God acting chops, as demonstrated in the likes of The Terminator, Aliens, The Abyss, and Tombstone, because, oh my god, look darling, Johnny Ringo. Great role. But things sadly fell off for Biehn by the late 90s for various reasons, not least his battle with alcoholism, which caused a number of health issues. By the mid-2000s, Biehn was largely relegated to straight-to-video fare, save for a memorable role in Robert Rodriguez's 2007 action horror film, Planet Terror. Biehn's big studio movie days seemed to be far behind him then, so it was a huge surprise to see him cast in a major role in Onslaught, the new A24 action thriller from Adam Wingard, who directed The Guest. Biehn will play the leader of a group of mercenaries tasked with containing an unspecified threat which escapes from a military base. And honestly, that sounds like a pitch-perfect role for a grizzled vet like him, even if you expected to see him in a role like this in 2025, let alone in an A24 movie. Two castings that are sure to dominate movie discourse in the next year, it's Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi, Wuthering Heights. The new adaptation of Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights from Saltburn director Emerald Fennell stoked controversy the moment its surprising lead actors were first announced. Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi are playing the central roles of Catherine Earnshaw and Heathcliff. And yeah, where to even begin with this? First off, Catherine is in her late teens at the end of the novel, so having a mid-30s Robbie play the part is certainly a bold choice. As for Heathcliff, well, he's said to be around 40 in the novel, but played by a 27-year-old Elordi in this movie. It's a bit of a bizarre dynamic reversal and makes the buzzy casting feel just a little bit more jarring. But there is cause for optimism. The recent trailer for the film contains the title within quotation marks, seeming to suggest that this will be Fennell's very distinct and not particularly reverent take on the source material. And also the trailer was really cool. I've been burned once before with Saltburn, I know, but to be honest, I'm just happy we're having a little gothic literature resurgence on the big screen, and for that reason, I'll be checking this one out. And finally, we have Keanu Reeves. The Entertainment System is Down. The Entertainment System is Down is the new film from Triangle of Sadness filmmaker Ruben Östlund and revolves around the passengers of a long-haul flight who are forced to contend with boredom when the plane's entertainment system, well, goes down. The cast is positively stacked, including a bevy of name actors who have their fair share of art house work under their belts, such as Kirsten Dunst, Daniel Bruhl, Samantha Morton, and Julie Delpy. And then there's Keanu Reeves, which is just great to have him in there. I love that. Reeves can't help but stick out like a sore thumb here because of his A-list status and tendency to star in more mainstream skewing fare. So it'll certainly be interesting to see him working with a filmmaker as idiosyncratic as Östlund. It remains to be seen whether Reeves is playing a passenger, a member of the cabin crew, or perhaps even a not-so-fictionalized version of himself, but to call this casting unexpected is certainly to understate the case here. Either way, really fun casting, really glad he's in there, and really looking forward to the movie itself.